Okay. Okay. Okay, here we are. Okay, can, okay, hang on, is it good, guys? Are you able to see this stream fine now? Is the lag gone? Is it good now? Is it good now, guys? Is it fine now? Can you guys hear me good? Is there lag? Is it good? Okay. Okay, good. The lag's gone then. Okay. Okay, so what the issue I think was is that I was processing like a 4K video that was like 2 hours long, and when I stopped processing that video, basically the stream stopped lagging. So it was that was the issue there. Hey, Ant, how are you, man? My most wanted features in GTA 6, I want a good economy in GTA 6, like an actual good in-game economy. Like stuff to spend your money on. Why don't you know much about the Yugoslavian wars, like the Kosovo War or the Bosnian War? I just haven't read much about them, Erish. I know generally a little bit about it. I know that, like, Joseph Broz Tito was the, dictator of Yugoslavia, since World War II up until the 80s when he died. And when he died, there was a power struggle in Yugoslavia. There's a lot of these nationalist movements that started popping up. And, countries started separating from Yugoslavia, and then other countries were invading each other. And it was, he had some really bad things that happened in the Yugoslavian wars, but I don't really know about each individual war that much. I just haven't read about it. I just know a little bit about, what started it, but I don't know, I don't know that much about it. Well, there's probably going to be some kind of Easter egg towards the old GTA games, the old Vice City games in GTA 6. My biggest fear for GTA 6? That it goes way too much over the top. That it doesn't keep that serious storyline, instead it just goes way too much over the top. How would you feel if the developers of 63 Days asked you to voice a character? I think that'd be cool. Wait, thank you, GJ, for the super chat. Wait, who's that? Andrew Ditch? Who's that? Can you explain a little bit more, GJ? You don't have to super chat me again if you could explain a little bit more. I think I'm gonna play that Fears to Fathom game on Halloween. That's what a lot of people have requested me to play that one. Jason and Lucia having a money fight in GTA 6. Online only and battle passes. And what did he do, GJ? Waffle heist in GTA 6. Can you do your old man voice? Hello, this is Alex Mason. I defended Florida from communism. I survived the Cuban Missile Crisis. That's like kind of my old man voice when I talk to scammers. Pro, would you start playing World at War Black Ops 1? Yes, World at War, we're gonna start the World at War playthrough next week. Wait, what, Wasabi guy? When you delivered this in, is the Cuban Missile Crisis like a movie? You're talking about The Sopranos, that's where that line comes from. Are you familiar with, M. Dickey's games? Mainly Hard Time? No, I've never heard of them before. I've heard of Green Day before. Why was The Last of Us 2 story bad? In my opinion, I didn't like it. Because I felt like just this new character that you were supposed to feel bad for, when, you know, her father had tried to kill Ellie in the previous game, and her father was just an unnamed NPC in Last of Us 1, and then Last of Us 2, they took an unnamed NPC and made him into the father of the, you know, the main character. And it was just like, it was just the fact that the writing was just really bad. Because Joel saved, like, Abby's life, and, you know, Abby didn't even hesitate for a second. Instead, she decided to shoot Joel in the leg with a shotgun and decided to torture him. Didn't even tell him, you know, who she was. And then, you know, Ellie goes across the country looking for her. I didn't like it. Patrick, I just sent you an explanation. Oh, look, GJ. Pro, why don't your NPCs help people sell? I've always thought, you don't condone selfish helpers. Well, Mark, if you've helped somebody, thank you for the super chat. If you've helped somebody sell, and that person didn't help you sell back, and they just left a session, just tell me who that person is, Mark, and I'll talk to them. But I don't like it when people do that, when they help people when they ask for help selling, and then they don't help the other person, they just leave. It's really annoying when that happens. Thank you, Electra Gaming. I read your explanation, GJ. I'd never heard of this guy, but he fakes autism, and he does disgusting things, so, okay. It's, I've never heard of that guy before. Did I read your message? I'll read it after the stream, Zach. Alright, and just invite me to the next business. Are you worried about the humor changing GTA, Am I worried about the humor will change GTA 6? Maybe. I don't think it's gonna be like Saints Row level of cringe. I don't think they're gonna do that.
say that my clients won't pay more than $50 per worker.
Oh, really?
Lord above.
Yeah.
Ever heard the Menendez brothers? The case is crazy. Can you tell me what it's about? I might have heard about it if you explain it to me. I might not know the names, but I might know what happened. Yes, I'll eventually play Dead Rising 2 Case 0 and Dead Rising 2, I just don't know when. Jack Doherty manages several OnlyFans accounts and he puts links in video descriptions which kids can access. By the way, what the hell is wrong with him? Do I make lore videos for Red Dead Redemption? I've made 2 in the past. I can make more. I don't know, Dragon Ball Z has never really been my thing. I used to watch when I was a kid, but I'm not, the cell is bugged? Okay, okay, this is a really rare glitch that happens, Toxic, I'm gonna have to destroy the helicopter, okay? You've already gotten your sale done, it's just one less product, but the bonus is gonna make up the difference. So don't worry about it. Don't leave, because it's just gonna be a waste of a sale, but... Oh, it's already destroyed, okay. It's, but that's, you know, that's a really rare glitch where it happens, where the last drop won't drop in the buzzard. I haven't seen that happen in a long time, but that's a glitch that happens, and just to fix that, just destroy the last, you know, product. You only lose one product, but you get the rest back. Patrick, will you have your Q&A live stream members? Yeah, I mean, I did a members only stream a couple days ago. Were you there for that one, Vertigo? But I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna do another one probably next week. Yep. I don't know. It's really no different than like Red Dead Redemption on console, right? The PC version. Will you have another one and please give more notice? Okay. I'll make another post, but I'll make a, you know, I'll do another one and I'll make a few more posts then. Oh, what the?
Good Lord above.
Yeah, it's only State of Decay 2 is only on Xbox though, right? I might give it a try. Probably love that you don't care what car you drive when doing free roam unless it has a special ability. Yeah, generally I don't care the car. What happened? Oh, the stream was having some lag with the stream last time. Yo, Pro, I'm excited when maybe you're gonna play The Last of Us. I'll play it, Eris. I just don't know when, but I'll play it. Have I ever played Guitar Hero? Yes, I used to play it back in the day a long time ago. I even had like the little guitar for it too. As I remember when it was like a big hit with the kids back then, but like now today it's like I haven't heard about that in a long time, but now today it's, yeah. It's, I don't know, is Guitar Hero dead? But yeah, but it was just, you know, buttons that you would just hit on the back of the, you know, keyboard controller thing. Do I think PC will get expanded and enhanced? Maybe Rockstar released the PC, you know, the features to the PC version before GTA 6 comes out. It's possible. Rock Band, yeah, Rock Band I haven't heard about, but Rock Band I think was a bit more realistic though. Yes, I'll be playing Metal Gear Solid 2, I just don't know exactly when, but I'll get around to playing it. Yes, I will attempt probably this week the 7-Day Survivor in Dead Rising again. half a mile left. What's the next part of Apollo Justice? I'll try to have it recorded as soon as I can, maybe tomorrow. Just finished streaming Metal Gear Solid 5. How are you? Hi, hey Chad, how are you? I'm doing good, Jam, how are you? I was a bit surprised when the first GTA 5 trailer came out, because I didn't expect a, you know, trailer for GTA 5 yet. How often do you cut your hair? Like, every, you know, 2 to 3 months? You know, I just usually just, you know, cut all around. I just like to keep my hair short, but sometimes it's let it grow out a little bit, but... glad you got the stream fixed, buddy. Thank you, Christine. It gets boring from time to time. Wait, what's wrong, David? What's boring? My top 5 games of 2007. Call of Duty 4. What else came out in 2007? Call of Duty 4. Bioshock. What else came out in 2007? I think about that one. Kane and Lynch, right? Yeah, Kane and Lynch. Have you ever eaten at Holodets or no? I haven't. I might play the Metal Gear Solid 3 original before the remake comes out. When does the remake come out, by the way? Assassin's Creed 1. How could I forget Assassin's Creed 1? But I didn't play Manhunt 2 in 2007, but... Can you say happy birthday to my friend, Faded? He, turned 23 and is a big fan. Well, happy birthday to your friend. Yeah. It's crazy how long 2007 was ago. What are you cosplaying as? I don't know. I guess maybe Agent 47 suit, but it's okay, Snake. I played Infamous 1 and 2 and Second Son, but I never played the prototype games. No, I didn't see the new Black Ops 6 trailer. Wait a second, nobody picked up the other bike? Okay. Wait, nobody got the other bike. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna go get it. I mean, I have a Discord account, but I don't really have a server. Will I be doing Truck Night horror stories? What, you mean like making like a video talking about like the horror stories on like truck nights and retail? Maybe I could do something like that, Vertigo. Maybe for like my next channel update video, I could do something like that. What's with the music? Oh, it's I usually have the music off, but I'm turning it on here. Turn it off here. Have I played Dead Island? Yes, I have played Dead Island. Yeah, I'll be open to playing Oblivion. Oblivion's actually one of my favorite games. I loved Oblivion back in the day. How do you edit your videos? Usually in Adobe Premiere Elements? Which games suck according to you in recent time? I don't know if there's any game that I really think sucks. There's just games I'm not interested in. Thank you, Josh King, for sponsoring my channel for a year and 2 months. Thanks, man. Don't give me that look. Rent is expensive. Huh, yep. Patrick, do you realize how loved you are by your community? Well, thank you, Mark. What did I think about the writing in Metal Gear Solid 1? It was amazing. It was really good. A lot of like you know, PS1 games, usually their storylines are kind of like cringe. But Metal Gear Solid 1 did a really good job with its story. I've been a subscriber since 2021. Thank you, William. I'll tell you guys, I'll tell you guys one horror story I remember from Truck Night. And, about the horror story that I remember from Truck Night. This is... How long ago did this happen? This happened probably, like, 9 years ago. This had to have happened in, like, 2015 or 2016. But, basically... when I worked on truck nights, in retail, I would be unloading, you know, this huge heavy truck all night long. And what PS1 game is cringe? I'm not saying a game. I'm just saying like the story writing, like the acting and stuff like that. And a lot of like older games isn't, you know, that good. But Metal Gear Solid 1 did an amazing job. But about the truck night horror stories, I'll tell you guys this one story. So this, you know, happened probably like 9 years ago. I came in for a truck night, and usually when I come in for a truck night, they assigned me like, you know, 30 minutes to an hour after the truck arrives. That's when I would usually come in to show up. And what happened is I pull into the parking lot, and like the truck for like the store is standing at like a weird angle. It's like standing at an angle that I've never seen before. And what I've noticed is there's a bunch of stuff that just spilled all over the parking lot floor, like shampoos, toothpaste, like just stuff from the store, stuff from the boxes, and that stuff is just spilled all over. And I talked to my supervisor, and I asked him, you know, what's going on, and he says that the truck driver did not want to, you know, pull up near the front of the store. He didn't want to use the ramp, you know, like we told him to. He wanted to do things his way. He wanted to use the little elevator on the truck. And when he used the little elevator on the truck, what happened was it brought down the pallet. The pallet snapped, and the stuff just fell down, and it spilled all over the parking lot floor. And I went around the parking lot, and I cleaned all of that up. I started picking that stuff up. I cleaned it all up. And what ended up happening is when we were ready to bring down the second pallet, do you know what the driver did? He used the elevator on the truck again, and the pallet snapped, and everything went all over the parking lot. You know, shampoos, you know, toothpaste, everything else, food, like this stuff just went all over the parking lot a second time. So I cleaned up the parking lot a second time. Then, when I was done with that, he was bringing out the third pallet, and it snapped again. And everything just went all over the parking lot. And I cleaned up the parking lot 3 times in a row. And then the truck driver at that point said, okay, I'll do it how you guys want it. And I was like, I was about to, like, curse that driver. Uh... What's horror is this when I used to work in retail? Well, it technically happened 3 times, Carlos, but... Yeah, it was the driver was an idiot. No, I never played Arma 3. Do I like the dark atmosphere of Infamous 1? Yeah, I do, Zombie Fanatic. I remember you could make like evil decisions too. I remember that also. Do I prefer a Siphon Filter or Metal Gear Solid? I would say Siphon Filter because I'm just more used to it as a kid. But I know why people like, you know, Metal Gear Solid more also. Any advice for working retail? My best advice to you working in retail is to not work there for very long. That was one of my biggest mistakes is that I spent like years working in retail. I should have never spent that long working there. But I would also say that, and I don't want to get you in trouble, dude. So I don't want to get you fired or anything like that, but me personally is if I get disrespected by a customer, I'm just going to walk away. Like, I'm not going to yell at them or anything like that, I'm just going to walk away from them. So, like, if a customer curses me out or something, like, I'll just refuse to help them. That's just me. Like, and that was, like, the last month when I was working in retail, when I had, like, customers that were being rude to me, I would always say the exact same thing to them, because I knew I was going to quit in, like, a matter of weeks, so I was, like, pretty much at my ropes. I was done at that point. I was just not going to, you know, I was not going to, you know, do it anymore. I wasn't gonna work there anymore. I couldn't take it anymore, and so I knew I was gonna quit in like in a couple weeks. And when I encountered like a customer that was like, really rude and nasty to me, what happened is that customer, I would say to them that, you know, sir, ma'am, I'm trying my best to help you. If you continue, you know, being rude and nasty to me, I'm not gonna help you. That's what I would generally say to them. And if they apologized, I would, you know, help them. But if they, you know, kept, you know, giving me an attitude, if they kept, you know, being nasty to me, what I would do is I would walk away. I would say, you know, go find someone else. I would just walk away. And I will tell you this, is, does anybody here in the comments, can you guys guess how these, Karens react when you walk away from them? Like, when they're yelling at you and, like, you know, mistreating you. Like, if you refuse to help them and you walk away, do you know how they react? Can anyone guess how they react? Because it's almost always the same reaction that I've seen. Almost always the exact same one. Yep, you guys are right. It's shock. It's, when you walk away from them, when they're yelling at you, they just stop for, like, a moment. They're in absolute shock. Because in their minds, they cannot process what just happened. They can't process that you just walked away from them. Because a lot of these people, these customers, are so narcissistic, they think that the world revolves around them, and so they cannot process in their minds that you just walked away from them. They expect you to sit there and just take it from them. And so that's why when I walk away from rude customers, I've done it in the past, they're shocked. They can't believe that I just walked away from them. I mean, anyone who thinks that working retail is easy is an idiot. Retail is not an easy job to work. There are people who work, you know, much less physical work than retail, and they make much better money. And so it's, you know, retail is a much more difficult job than a lot of other jobs. And I've seen comments from people that worked in retail where they've said that they didn't realize, like, some of the other jobs pay way better than retail. But, like, retail is, like, a job that is... I would agree with you, Chaz. Retail is a simple job, but it's not easy. That's what I would agree with you on that. What was the craziest brawl fights you ever witnessed from school or streets that you'll never forget? The only brawls that I can really remember, my high school never really had any fights, but my middle school did. And I remember when I was in my middle school, I remember that psycho kid that I talked about, Jake. I've seen him beat up kids. That was scary, terrifying. Thank you, Mr. Jesus. I work in construction, and personally, retail tired me more. Yep. Well, construction, you get a lot better pay also than in retail. Will we get another retail video? Maybe I'll do one. I'll do one on truck nights. Like, maybe my next video, I'll do one on, like, horror stories from truck nights. I might do one, because I have, like, a bunch I can tell. Oh, yeah, we were not allowed a union. When I worked in retail, we were not allowed a union. Why? Because the company was greedy. Are you running for president? Oh man. If I somehow became president and I tried to abolish the CIA I think would assassinate me. How to deal with scammers? I just annoy the hell out of them. Waste their time. Scammers hate their time being wasted more than anything, and if you waste their time, they will they're losing money at that time. They're not scamming anybody else. Can I look into hell of a boss in Hasman Hotel? I don't care what the others, some users say about it. Maybe do a poll or something. Can you send me a link to it on Twitter, Zach? And I'll also look at it later. Stop running red lights. Can I do New York City accent? Hey, how you doing? Do I think GTA 6 will have hurricanes? That's actually a good question. Could GTA 6 have some kind of, like, crazy weather? It's possible, yeah. It is, you know, now that I think about it. That's what one thing they might do to, like, try to impress us, is they might have, like, some crazy, you know, weather effects. Like, San Andreas had the, had, like, the riot thing, where, like, you know, Los Santos was, like, in a complete riot. And so maybe, like, GTA 6 will have something similar, but instead of having that, they'll have, like, maybe they'll have, like, a part of the game where it'll take place during a hurricane. You know, maybe something like that. I don't know. Thank you, Big Voodoo Gaming.
No, avoid North Rockford Drive.
One of the only games that I've seen that had, like, natural disasters in it is Just Cause 4, and that was probably the best thing in Just Cause 4, because Just Cause 4 kind of sucked, but the only good thing in Just Cause 4 I would say was the natural disasters. Those are probably the only good things in Just Cause 4. It was like, yeah. What's up, Pro? I'm on break right now. Oh, how long is your shift, Alejandro? What would you rate Just Cause 3 out of 10? 9. What made you stay in retail so long? The number one thing that made me stay in retail was it's the only thing I knew how to do, and I felt scared trying to start something else. Because the thing is, when I was in retail, and the first couple weeks that I was working, I didn't know how to do everything, and whenever I tried to ask for help, I would get screamed at. So, like, I was a new worker, and if I tried to ask for help, management would scream at me. Like, they were very disrespectful to me. And so, for me personally, like, I got scared working any other job, because I was scared that if I, you know, started working anywhere and I would need help with anything, that management would scream at me. But then I realized that was normal behavior. That doesn't happen everywhere. Hey, did you hear about the SS United States being sold to be a reef? What's your thoughts? Wait, what do you mean, American loyalist? Thank you for the super chat. Can you explain a little bit more? You don't have to super chat me again. I'll look for your comment. Can you explain a little bit more?
Where the hell did you come from?
Retail is so mentally draining, and the worst part is when they don't give you enough hours to support yourself. Yeah, and I will tell you is I think that retail has caused me both mental and physical harm. I think it has. You know, it's damaged my mental. I think retail definitely has damaged my mental health to a degree. I'm not a psychologist or anything, but like I think it has damaged my mental health to a degree because there are times where I can't stop. You know, I start thinking about like these horrible times that I had in retail, and I just can't stop thinking about them. And I just want it to go away, but like some of these really bad memories sometimes come back. And the second thing is the physical. You know, the physical things that I went through in retail is just doing the truck nights, all these heavy boxes, unloading it all night long and opening up the belt. I hated the belt. Like, I hated opening up because we had it, like, in the floor, and we had, like, this basement belt, and you had to open up these big steel doors, and they were so heavy, and you had to pull all your force and your back into it. It was just ridiculous. So it was, yeah. Long-lasting mental damage, I don't know. I don't know what it. But I feel. Like I said, I'm not a psychologist, but I feel like working 6 years there did some kind of damage to my mental health. I don't know what it might have done, but I feel like it did something. Like it gives me just such bad memories because when I think of retail, I just think of such bad memories, such bad things too. And the thing is though is that that store. That store, I refuse to go back to that store. Refuse to go in there. I refuse to step foot in it. So, like, sometimes my parents and me, because, like, the store I used to work at is in a shopping plaza, and sometimes, sometimes I'm visiting my parents, like, we'll drive to the shopping plaza, do some groceries, and then want to stop by in, like, my old store. I refuse to walk in. Like, I will not go in there. So it's, that. So I haven't been in there in years. Have you gone to therapy? No, I don't think I need therapy. It's like I'm not to that point, dude. It's like I'm not. I don't have some kind of mental illness. At least I don't think so. But it's the point that I was just getting at is that working in that environment for like 6 years, getting screamed at, dealing with such toxic customers. I think it did take a toll on my mental health. I don't know what it might have done, but I feel like it did something, and it's not good.
Go fuck yourself.
Professional, why do people hate the police? Because they've been misled by the media a lot of times. Watching the media, they think that, like, every single cop is this racist, horrible, evil person, when the vast majority of cops are good people. There are bad cops out there that shouldn't be cops, and they should be in prison, don't get me wrong, but the vast majority of cops are good people. I wouldn't ever go back in there, flaming eel. Retail can be stressful and draining, but just don't ever take the stress of work to your home and try to get a better job. Yeah, you're right, Fernando. Your guides helped me a lot. Cheers. Thank you. Thank you, Silverena. Oh, and hang on a second. It was that other comment, right? American Loyalist. American Loyalist commented, wait. A historic vessel that was laid up for 25 years in Philly was evicted because the landlord doubled up rent. The people who owned the ship didn't have time and had to sell it to be a reef to a country in. A historic vessel was evicted because the landlord doubled up rent. The people who owned the ship didn't have time. Wait, I'm confused. I don't understand one thing. Wouldn't the landlord be the one who owns the ship? If he's renting out the ship, wouldn't the landlord be the one who owns the ship? Wait, so the landlord sold the ship? Okay. we go. But yeah, I will tell you guys something is the the worst the worst decision that I think I've ever made in my life is that I spent 6 years working in retail when I should have gotten out early. But the worst, I would say I would say some of the other things that one thing that I really heavily regret, and I really heavily regret this because it took a toll on me later on, and don't do what I did, but basically is when I was younger, I had very little self-esteem. I didn't know how to stand up for myself, and so people would take advantage of me, people would roll all over me, and especially in retail, like if you put a person with like low self-esteem into like an environment like retail, and you combine that with toxic customers and toxic management, that's a recipe for disaster, and that's, what I dealt with. I had coworkers that took advantage of me, they made me do their work, I had toxic supervisors, toxic managers, it was, toxic customers dealing with that, and I didn't know how to stand up for myself. So like if somebody talked down to me, if somebody tried to make me do something, somebody took advantage of me, I didn't know how to say no. I would just constantly do whatever I was told. Whatever people told me to do, I'd do it. And that was it. I just didn't want conflict, I didn't want drama, and I just didn't know how to stand up for myself. But that's what I would say, guys, is don't let people walk all over you, because that's one of the worst things I did in my life, is I didn't know how to stand up for myself. And there are scummy people out there that will take advantage of you. They'll act like your friends, but they will take advantage of you, and they'll see that you don't say anything back to them, and that they can just keep constantly asking you for favors, constantly asking you for stuff over and over and over again. And, friends don't do stuff like that. But that's what I would say is that, and here's the thing is, even if it's your manager, if your manager is being toxic to you, if your manager is basically treating you like crap, and just, yelling at you, getting you to do stuff you shouldn't be doing, I would say is just get out of that environment. Like, I know it's not that easy to switch jobs, but if I was like in this day and age, if I was like encountering like a really toxic boss, like if I could go back like 6 years ago, I probably would have told myself, not to work so long in retail. But when I encountered like that first toxic boss that I had, I would have probably told a younger version of myself is start applying to other places. Start looking, like, at the same time as, like, don't quit right away, but start, like, looking for other places that you can apply to. Look to other places that are hiring, because you don't need to work in this type of environment. And that's what I would say, is you don't need to work in that type of environment where, like, a boss treats you like garbage, treats you like crap.
Sheesh. I totally have to do
The pier owners aren't good people. I was supposed to tour her 2 weeks ago, but the pier owners denied the ship owners to tour have access to pier. This was before the strike that started that Tuesday. When you say people took advantage of you, would you say you pushed yourself to help people and please people? Yeah. Because I felt like if I helped them, they would help me, but that wasn't always the case. That's what I would always feel. I was always thinking that if I helped people, they would remember that, and they would cherish that, and they remember that I would help them, but that wasn't the case. And, one thing that got me really pissed off, I'll tell you this, the last 2 years of my job that I was working, basically, when I worked with this one girl, and what she would constantly do is she would constantly call out, like, just over and over and over again, just not show up to work, and she would do this, like, the same day that she was working. So she would just, text the manager, oh, I can't come in today, like, not even give a reason, and she would do this multiple times, like, over and over and over again, and, she probably did this, like, 30, 40 times. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Like, that's how many times this girl, like, called out in, like, even a single year. And what happened is, and the reason I'm pissed about this is because whenever she called out, what would happen is the manager would immediately text me. Like, I was the first person that he would immediately text. I was the first person that he would immediately call. And the manager would guilt trip me oftentimes to come in. Like, please, come in. Like, we're gonna be behind if you don't come in. We're gonna have a lot more work for the rest of the people. And, like, I should have just said no. I should have just said no, today's my day off. I'm not responsible for what, other people not coming in. But it was like I would constantly get guilt tripped by the manager when this girl wasn't coming in. And the thing is, though, what really pushed me, what got me really pissed off, is I remember that there was one Easter that my mom wanted to go to church. It was the day before Easter. She wanted to go to church. Now, I'm not a really religious person, but I wanted to go to church, primarily for my mom, because to make my mom happy and go with her to church. And so what I did was I told my manager like 1 month beforehand, that like I need this day off. Like, I cannot work this day. In the afternoon, I need this afternoon off. And my manager basically told me, he said, I can't do it, Pat. You have to find somebody to cover for you. That's basically what he said. So I gave him 1 month notice, and he wouldn't even go out of his way to make a day for me 1 month later. Like, would not even go out of his way. And meanwhile, this girl would constantly call out multiple times a month, and he'd be like, oh, it's fine. It's not a big deal. But then I asked him for, like, 1 day off in advance, like 1 month, and he told me, I can't do it, Pat. You have to find somebody to cover me. And what I ended up doing is I texted everybody, because there was multiple people at my job that I would constantly cover for them. I would constantly come whenever they needed it. I would cover their shifts. I would always help them out. And every single person I texted would say, no, I can't, I'm busy that day, I can't. I would text them like weeks in advance, like, can you cover this day for me? And so none of them would. And I got pissed, and I realized these people had used me, because they would constantly ask me for favors covering their shifts, ask me for favors helping them with stuff at work. I wasn't even, not even my work. And then when I actually needed one favor for once, nobody was there to actually, back me up, to give me that single favor. And so I was working that day, and I remember that I was working with my friend and the supervisor. The manager wasn't there. And I finished all of my work. So the manager had me like unbox a bunch of stuff, put stuff in the aisles. I finished all the work. I had all the work done that day. And then what happened is I texted the manager. The store is empty. Like, there was nobody there. There was no customers there, and I had all my work done. I asked the manager, can I just go? Because, like, I could just, still make it with my mom, to go to church. Like, I don't have to, work here, because I finished everything. I finished all my work, and there's no customers. The store is empty. And the manager basically said to me, you have to talk to the supervisor about that. So I talked to the supervisor about that, and, and she basically gives me an attitude. Like, I told her I finished all of my work, and then she basically says, like, fine, we don't need you here, just go. Like, that, basically like that. And I just basically, I took my jacket, and I just left. And I went, I went with my mom to church. And then what ended up happening is the guy that I worked with, because the one guy I worked with that day, he was actually more friendly to me, one of my, friends. And he actually texted me and said that the supervisor was bad-mouthing me after I left. And he said, he's like, oh, the supervisor said that you lied, that you didn't go to church with your mom, you just wanted to go home and like play video games and stuff like that. And I was like, I was pissed at that point. Like, I was annoyed. I was like, I finished all my work, I did everything, I wasn't even supposed to be working this day, and it's like, I left, and then you're gonna, badmouth me after I left too. And I believed what he said. I believed him, because I didn't like that supervisor, and that supervisor didn't like me. And so it was, and that supervisor, I did her multiple favors. I helped her constantly with so many things, and I covered multiple of her shifts when she called out, just to, talk behind my back like that. That got me pissed, and that got me annoyed. And what ended up happening is I ended up confronting, like, my manager about this. Not about what the supervisor was saying behind my back, but I told my manager, like, I was like, can I talk to you, like, one day? And he's like, sure. And I sit down in the office with him, and I say to him, I start talking to him about that girl that called out, like, 40 times in, like, a single year. And I told him, is there, like, a punishment for her constantly calling out like this? And he basically was, like, avoiding the question. He was like, well, she goes to college, she has classes and stuff like that. He starts, like, trying to avoid it. And I said, is there a punishment for constantly calling out like this? And he said, like, no, there's no punishment. And I said to him, like, I go to college too, I have classes also, but, like, whenever she calls out, you constantly call me, text me, and then, you guilt trip me, to come in when I'm not supposed to be coming in on my day off. And, like, the one day that I needed off, like, 1 month in advance, you couldn't even do that for me, but this girl constantly calls out the same day, and there's no punishment for that. And you know what he said to me? He completely changed the topic, and he said to me, what do you want me to do, Pat, fire her? And I said to him, no, I don't want you to fire anyone, but talk to her and tell her that she cannot call out like this all the time, and you can't keep annoying me on my days off because I have stuff to do too. I go to college and stuff like that, and I'm just annoyed with the phone calls and the texts constantly on my day off. And he didn't say anything to me after that, but nothing changed, because he just kept calling out. He kept calling out, and he still kept texting me and calling me and telling me to come in. At that point, I should have just said no. I should have stopped coming in. I should have stopped coming in my days off to cover shifts. But he kept guilt tripping me, and I didn't know how to stand up for myself, and it just kept coming in over and over again. But that's that's honestly what just pissed me off, is that this girl was like, called out like 40 times a year. He never, yelled at her. He never, wrote her up. Nothing like that. It was all, everything was fine. But then I needed 1 day off, 1 month in advance, and he couldn't even do that for me. So that honestly pissed me off, and that annoyed me. So that's what I say about retail. Is my advice to people is, don't let people roll all over you. Don't let people take advantage of you. People are scummy. People will do that. People will take advantage of you. Working a food service job in a hospital is stressful. Lots of orders and people usually with specific diets. Then you have to prep and make food every day. Definitely a job that's for sure. Thank you, somebody32. Thank you for the super chat, man. And I will also say, I can imagine how stressful that job is, because I can imagine you probably deal with some rude patients that probably don't like the food. So you might bring them the food, and they probably might complain about the food, and they might, say nasty comments to you. You probably dealt with that, right? So I can also imagine that you have, stuff like that. But I can imagine that you gotta be prepared for the food, but then you also might have customers, or patients, I should say, that are unhappy with the food that you made. I didn't know how to say no back then, so people will constantly ask me to cover for them, and I thought I didn't have much of a choice but to say yes. And here's the thing: is people will guilt trip you. They will guilt trip you, and they will say like, oh, if you don't come in, we don't have that much. We'll have more work to do and stuff like that. And I will say about this guilt tripping. What I'll say about this is, how is that your responsibility? Because honestly, management is acting like the success of the store is your responsibility specifically. Maybe when you're working on that day, that everything's supposed to be working in order, maybe that is your responsibility to help and make sure the store is working in order. But if you're not working that day, if it's your day off and management is guilt tripping you, saying, oh, the store is going to go bad if you don't come in today, it's like, we're going to have a lot of work. Well, how is that your responsibility? It's not your responsibility. But that's what management will do, and thank you, Jimmy, is they will constantly, guilt trip you. They'll make you, and I will say this, the worst thing, the worst thing that I have seen management do, one of the worst things I've seen them do, and this is breaking the law. So this isn't just an immoral act, but it's also an illegal act. I'm sure that there's people in the comment section that will agree with me. I've said this before, but if anybody here who has worked in a retail environment or even a fast food environment, does anybody know the #1 law that managers break? It's a very common law, and pretty much everywhere managers break this law constantly. And I think a lot of times they either don't know they're breaking the law or they just don't care. Anyone know what law that is that they're breaking constantly? Hello, hang on a second. The stream crashed? What's going on with the stream? Is the stream good now, guys? Is the stream good?
All right,
Can you guys hear me? Everything good with the stream now? Here? Okay, I don't know what people are saying. Stream crashed. Yes, you guys are right. You guys are right in the comments. Breaks are the #1 law that they break. And I will tell you guys this is I will tell you guys this that let me. Oh, thank you, Awesome Entertainer Guy 3 Ultimate. I'll read the super chats in a moment. The breaks that the break laws. So here's the thing: is every single state has different break laws. And what I would recommend is to read up on your break laws and make sure that you know your break laws really well. Make sure that you know exactly, what your break laws are. And make sure you know what the penalties and the violations are for that as well. Because there is probably like a state organization that you can report the manager to. So like there's probably some kind of state, government organization that is, responsible for labor. And you can probably report the manager to that. Because you have a human right to take a break. And you're working for a number of hours, you have a right to take a break, you have a right to get something to eat. And so the manager does not have a right to deny you the break. The manager does not have a right to tell you. But here's the thing is, do you know what the managers will do a lot of times? The managers, and I would say about this, oh, yeah, refresh the stream. If you guys are having problems, refresh the stream. I don't know why it's doing this. Thank you, Oscar, for the super chat. And thank you, Minter. Thank you for sponsoring the channel. Oh, and thank you, nicest person in the universe. Hey, Pro, I'm having issues with my PS5 controller for someone. The left analog, will you change your camera turning view? Keeps turning by itself. I don't know why. I just got this controller a couple months ago.
Where's your anti-jacking?
Oh, we got mugged here. I think, yeah, that's just a little bit of stick drift. That's what you're getting, there, dude. It's just you're just getting a bit of stick drift. I'm getting a little stick drift too, but, the stick modules for the DualSense Edge I know are available online again, on the, PlayStation website. And they're, you know, not regular prices, not scalper prices. No, I don't want to think about that, Chrysler. Thank you for the super chat. I hope that wasn't true, but, thank you, awesome entertainer guy. And thank you, Fear, Kev, thank you for the super chat. Retail corporations only care about their stocks. Yeah, thank you, guys, for the super chats. So, if you guys are having any issues, just refresh the stream. I don't know why it's, you know, doing that today. But what I was saying is, here's what management will do to break the law. They are breaking the law, but a lot of times they know that they're breaking the law. And the way management acts like this is very psychopathic. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it's psychopathic, because it's very manipulative. Like, just like a psychopath, how some psychopaths are like very manipulative, is management will be just like that. And so what management will do is, when you are working, right? Has this happened to anyone? If this has happened to anyone in the if this has happened to anyone in the chat, let me know. 'Cause I'm really curious if this has happened to anyone. But has it ever happened to you where you're working for like a number of hours, right? And you want to go eat. You want to go on break. And you ask your manager, "Can I go on break?" And the manager says to you, they say to you, "Oh, you know, you can't go on break right now. We have a lot of work to do. We still have more work to do. If you go on break right now, everybody's going to be behind." And what the manager basically does is they will try to guilt trip you into not taking your break. They will basically say, like, "Oh, you know, you can't go on break right now. You know, we have a lot of work to do. If you go on break, we're going to be behind," and stuff like that. Or the manager might say, "I don't go on breaks." Like, that's what they'll say. But when managers say that I don't go on breaks, keep in mind that they're sitting in the office a lot of times. They're at least sitting, where people in retail are constantly, running around on their feet and doing, physical labor.
Holy Jesus!
Oh, hi, I fear Kev. Well, thank you for the super chat, dude. Yeah, my boss does that. He also fires employees if they do jury duty. That's illegal. Your boss cannot do that. I would report your boss to, like, your state's labor management, whatever, your state's agency is. Your boss can't do that. When have you ever seen a manager get arrested over breaks? Well, they can't really get arrested. I don't think they can get arrested for that, for, like, for denying you a break. I don't think they can get arrested for that. I think they can get fined for that. So the company can get fined, because it is breaking the law. Because not everything that breaks the law results in an arrest, but it technically is breaking the law. So I don't think that they can get arrested for denying somebody a break, but I think that they're definitely going to get fined. So that's what I'll say about that. Is, look up what the, oh crap, hang on, this is the police ambush. Wait, this. Yeah, this is the police ambush. How much is the fine? I don't know. It would vary state by state. I don't know. But here's the thing: is firing somebody over jury duty is way more serious than denying somebody a break, unless it's like multiple violations of denying breaks. But if it's like, you fire somebody because they had jury duty, that actually might be an arrestable offense if you do something like that. So that's, if, I don't know, like, here's what I would do, dude. is if you still have in contact with your coworkers, like the guy that was telling me about, the manager that fired people over jury duty, if you still have contact with your coworkers, you know, tell them that what the manager did was most likely illegal. Like, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but just tell them what the manager did was most likely, because I'm 99% certain that if they fire you for, you know, having jury duty, I'm pretty sure that that's illegal. 99% certain that's illegal. They cannot fire you for having jury duty. And so that's you know, a form of retaliation. And so they, that's extremely serious. So reach out to your coworkers and just tell them that they were probably wrongly terminated, and they could probably seek legal action against that manager. I had a manager tell me to go back to work 30 minutes before my break ended because he was busy, but all he does is sit in the office, yep. And I would tell him, no, I'm gonna go back to work when my break is over and I'm finished eating. That's... Some of these managers are just such scumbags. Okay, nicest person in the universe. Does anybody here in the chat know the law a little bit better on this? I'm 99% certain that that's illegal, but can anyone confirm in the chat, is it illegal to fire somebody for having jury duty? Because I'm 99% certain that's illegal, that the manager cannot fire somebody for having jury duty. Yeah, so I had 2 people just tell me it's illegal. Yep. I was pretty sure it was, but I just wanted confirmation. I was pretty sure it was illegal, but I just wanted to be sure. Oh, great. I got this glitch. Toxic, you're gonna have to come over here and deliver this bike. This is a glitch where it's only gonna open if you do it. How did the home army manage to steal 2 Panther tanks? That's a great question. They just, the Magda tank that you see in, oh, Carlos can do it. The Magda tank that you see in 63 Days, that tank specifically, the backstory behind that is that they disabled the Panther tank. I don't know how they disabled it, but they somehow disabled it. They hit it with something. And what happened was the crew tried to bail. And they basically captured the crew, and they forced the crew to teach them how to drive the tank. And they repaired the tank. That's basically how they got it. Would firing somebody over jury duty be considered an obstruction of justice? I don't know, because obstruction of justice is more of like when you're interfering with an investigation. But technically you're interfering with a legal process, so maybe yes. I don't know that I don't know, Gunner. I'm assuming they got destroyed. But yeah, I would tell you guys that if you ever have that happen where the manager, like, you know, tries to tell you can't go on break, and they're trying to guilt trip you, saying, like, oh, you know, we're gonna have a lot of work if you go on break right now, you tell them that, no, I have a human right to take a break, and if you want legal action, well, you'll get it. That's basically it. That's what I would tell them. Because you can just report them to the labor board if they try to do something like that. And I will tell you guys something else. When I worked a 9-hour shift, I had I wasn't told about this, and when I started working in retail, I wasn't actually told that I had breaks. I didn't even know that I had breaks. I was just like, you know, a naive 19-year-old kid, and I didn't even know that I was entitled to a break, and management didn't even tell me. Like, they saw me standing for like 8 hours, didn't even tell me that I could have a break, that I could have something to eat. They didn't even tell me that. And then what I found out later on is that in my state, when I had like a 9-hour break, it was that I had like a non-paid 30-minute break, and then I had 2 15 minutes that were paid for. And they didn't tell you that they had 2 15-minute breaks that were paid. So they never told me that. And one of my coworkers, told me about that rule, that you can have 2 paid 15-minute breaks also. And when I tried to take those 15-minute breaks, she's like, go ahead, try to take the 15-minute break, see how management reacts. Management was not happy when I was taking those breaks, so they didn't inform staff. They were hoping people didn't know the law, but that's what the law was. Hey, Pro, we cool? Of course we're cool. Why do you think we're not cool, dude? Have you heard about Classified 44? It's another World War II game. Yes, I know the game that you're talking about. It takes place in France. I know that one. I want to get around to playing it when I get the chance. Tesla bots? What do you mean Tesla bots? What are you talking about? I worked at a lumber yard for 4.5 years and I never got a raise. Ooh. That sucks. Well, I hope that you at least, you got out of that job and you found a better job, dude. Who remembers the Professional's original brown recliner? Yeah, that chair that I had. Thank you, Egg, for the super chat. Thanks, man. Classic France 44 is basically XCOM, but World War II. Yeah, maybe kind of like Empire of Sin 2. Do you still have that recliner? Yes, I do. What got me into GTA? I like the open world. Being able to explore, go where I wanted. It was like an infinite amount of, possibilities. Elon Musk is making these robots where it can work and do chores for you, huh? My favorite scumbag character, Death in the Goodfellas? I don't remember. I would say maybe the, Billy Bates, I think was his name. I think that was the, that one was, I remember that one too. What are your thoughts on Dead Rising 3? I think Dead Rising 3 was a great game. I don't know why people hated on Dead Rising 3 and they thought Dead Rising 3 was bad. And you know what? You know what I liked about Dead Rising 3? I like Dead Rising 3 more than Dead Rising 2. I know some people say Dead Rising 2 is the best one, but I like Dead Rising 2 also. But what I like about Dead Rising 3 is I like how dark Dead Rising 3 is. Like, Dead Rising 3 is just so, like, dark and gritty compared to the other ones. Like, it's so much more gruesome. And that's just honestly what I like about it, is the series took a much darker turn in Dead Rising 3. Thank you, Grits. What about that lady supervisor who you said stuck up for you? Oh, about her. She actually got a transfer. She ended up working in pharmacy. So she ended up, transferring to pharmacy, and she wanted to work there. And I don't know if she got a pay raise, but she preferred, she as far as I know, she's still in that store, but she transferred over to the pharmacy section of the store now, so she works there. I did help her out, though, a couple years ago, there was like, 4 years ago. 4 years ago, she was looking for a new home. Her husband had passed away, and she was looking for a smaller home to buy. She didn't want to have, such a large home, and so she wanted to sell her home and buy, like, a smaller home. And she asked me for help because her English wasn't the best. And she asked me for help, trying to find her, like, a home. And I asked her, like, what towns are you looking for specifically? Like, what kind of house, how many bedrooms, square foot, what year would you like this house to be built, like the price range. And what I did was I went on like Zillow and I found like a bunch of houses, and I would text her like every week, and I would like send her like a different house, and I was like, "Does this house work for you? Is this house good?" And eventually she picked one of the houses that I found for her, and she bought them, and she bought it, and she thanked me for that. No, I never played Elden Ring. That's very sweet of you, Pat. Well, thank you. I always liked that supervisor. I always liked her, and it was one of the few people I got along with, and that's why I did her that favor, helped her out with that too. And the thing about this is, when I started first working with her, I didn't like her because I thought she was too strict. But then I realized later on that strict doesn't mean that somebody's a scumbag. And I've dealt with supervisors that were laid back, but they were scumbags. And so she was strict at times, but she was caring. And and as long as you were doing all your work on time, she had your back, and she didn't overwork you. That was it. She got people's cases when they weren't doing their job. She was probably the best employee there, now that I think about it. Also, about this, you actually don't even need to do this. You can just shoot down the helicopter, and then you just use the Trackify to go to the location, but it's whatever you want to do. You can shoot down the helicopter to make this mission quicker. It'll work. It won't ruin the sale, don't worry. But that helicopter takes a lot of RPGs. It's a bit to take it down, so it's not easy. If you had to work a trade, which one would you work? The thing about that is, I didn't know what I wanted to do for like years. So for years, I couldn't decide on what I wanted to do, and then it hit me. It was like 2 years ago. It finally hit me. If I was working a trade, what I would do is I would work in gunsmithing. I always liked the internals of like firearms, especially like older surplus firearms. And so that's probably what I would have learned, is I would have learned how to gunsmith. These days, no, I'm not interested in that. It's not for me personally. Because I still like, firearms, but it's just like, I'm doing YouTube, and I have like rental properties, so there's really no need for me to like learn that stuff anymore. You got scammed? Wait, what happened, Venom? I had a manager make me take a 10-minute break. Did you report them? I hope you did, but that they can't do that. Yeah, I've heard of Superstore. I'll definitely look into it. You know what, I will tell you guys, do you know what store reminded me the most of the place I used to work at? What fictional store? It was, has anybody ever watched the TV show Monk, the detective show? Like, it's an older show. I used to watch Monk a lot when I was a kid, but it's like that one episode where, like, Monk is working undercover in retail. Like, that store just reminds me so much of the store that I used to work at, that one. I remember that episode, too. Do you ever get recognized in real life? Is it awkward? I've only been recognized 3 times. 3 times it's happened. One time I got recognized, I was at a bank, and I was opening up a savings account. This is like years ago. So this is like maybe like 2019. And when I was opening up a savings account, the bank teller basically said to me, he's like, "Your voice sounds familiar. Like, do you do YouTube?" And I said, I'm like, "Yeah, did you watch my channel?" And I didn't even say my channel name. And then he just said to me, "Oh, you're the GTA Money Guide guy." He's like, "I watch your videos." That's like what he said. So like he kind of recognized me more by my voice instead of my face. And then the second time that I got recognized is I got recognized at a Best Buy, and this happened in 2022. So like 2 years ago. And I remember it was the week of Thanksgiving. and I was in Best Buy because I was looking for a new printer, and I was, I asked for help finding the printers, and the guy said to me in the store, he said to me, are you the professional by any chance? And I said, yeah, I am. And then he says to me, I love your channel. And then he just said, he's like, here's the printers, but I have to get back to work. And I said, okay, cool, thank you. The third time that I got recognized, it wasn't really that I got recognized. It was more of basically what happened was I went to the Fallout event last year in Nevada. And when I went to that, I was taking a few pictures, and I said, you guys mind if I put this on my YouTube channel? And, they asked me, what's your YouTube channel? And I said, The Professional. And the one guy said, oh, that's who you are. It's like your voice sounded familiar, like he said that. But it's only happened 3 times where I've been recognized. But that was about it. The guy that I met in Nevada, he said he didn't watch my channel in years. He said he used to watch me for the GTA Money guides, but he stopped playing GTA. Have you ever played GTA Advance from the Game Boy Advance? It takes place in Liberty City 2000 before the events of GTA 3. No, I haven't, but I want to play. It's technically the same universe as GTA 3, so I do want to play it one day. Thank you for the super chat, Louisiana. Wait, what NBA? What's that? Honestly, it's like when it comes to that Jack Doherty idiot, it's the same thing that you see with like the Clickbaiters. If you watch like the biggest fans of the Clickbaiters, the GTA Clickbaiters, are almost always kids. Like, have you guys noticed that like the biggest fans of the GTA Clickbaiters, like young kids, and they don't even realize that they're being scammed. They don't even realize that they're being lied to. Like, they actually think all these leaks are real. This YouTuber has, like, they think they're all legitimate leaks, like actual like GTA 6 leaks. They actually believe it. There was that one stupid YouTuber, like a number of years ago, who was doing those GTA 6 like unboxing videos, and like I said, this is fake, this is nonsense. He doesn't have GTA 6. It's all a lie. It's all BS. And I had his fans actually invade my streams. Like, they actually came into my streams and they started harassing me, and they started saying to me, he actually has GTA 6. He knows people that work at Rockstar. You're just jealous, Professional. He has over 1 million subscribers, because at that time I had like 100,000 subscribers, and they were like saying to me, he has over 1 million subscribers. Why don't you have 1 million subscribers? You're just jealous, Professional. You're just jealous of his success. He's a better channel than you. Like, people were just coming in my chat and saying that to me. It's like, trust me, I am not jealous of some idiot that lies about having GTA 6. I am not jealous. Is Singapore proof that dictatorships can work? Just saying hi, Pro. Thank you, Random Fist. Is Singapore proof that dictatorships can work? Yes and no. And the reason I say that is because Singapore is a very rare exception where you have like a dictator who actually, cared about their people and cared about their country and actually did what's best for their country, didn't steal, from the people, didn't lie to the people, didn't terrorize the people with secret police. But the thing is, 99% of the dictators that exist in history are scumbags, like, evil scumbags. There's very few times in history where there's like a dictator that actually cares about his people, very few times. And there's a reason for that. Why are the vast majority of dictators in the world scumbags? Like, why are 99% of dictators evil? Do you know why? I'll tell you why. The reason 99% of dictators are evil is because in order for them to become dictators, those people have to be pretty ruthless people anyways. Dictators usually come to power through civil wars or coups. And in order to engage in that stuff, those people have to be pretty ruthless people, like really evil people, ruthless people, and they're willing to do things that honest people are not willing to do, like really bad things to get to the, like dictators will do anything to get to the top, anything to get power. So like they don't care who they have to hurt along the way to get there, as long as they get to power. And that's why most dictators are evil scumbags, because to be a dictator, the person has to be a ruthless, evil person to get to that point in the first place. So that's why the vast majority of dictators in history are, evil, terrible people, because they've done bad things to get to that point. They're already bad people before they even become a dictator. So like Lee Kuan Yew, when it comes to Singapore, he's one of the few examples that I can think of a dictator. He's like probably like that 1% of dictators in history that have not been, cruel and evil to their people and actually helped, rebuild their country and actually tried to do right by their country and do good things by their country. And as for Lee Kuan Yew, I don't think that he became a dictator through a violent coup. I think he became a dictator because I think he got elected, and then I think he eventually messed with the government, kind of like his own little coup, but it wasn't like, something like violent, like, super violent like you see in other countries. So, I guess he became dictator, and then the people didn't oppose him, and then he changed a lot of stuff out. But that's basically what I'll say about that. So, can dictatorships work? Yes and no. If you have like a really, good person that actually cares about their country, maybe. But the chances of that happening are like, you have a better chance of like winning the lottery than like actually finding like a dictator who actually cares about their people and cares about their country. So that's what I say, is that dictators that are good people are honestly rare. Very rare. Like, honestly, can you honestly name like good dictators in history? You can't really. Like, honestly, the only good dictator that I can think of in history is Lee Kuan Yew. Like, the only guy. Like, I cannot think of anyone. Like, every single other dictator is like some evil, narcissistic scumbag. I believe Rockstar is just surprised dropped the second trailer for GTA 6, because I don't think Rockstar wants us to risk the trailer being leaked again. Yeah, that was kind of embarrassing that the trailer got leaked too when that happened. Well, I just answered your question, NBA. The only other dictator that I can think of that people generally liked was Piłsudski, who was the dictator of Poland for like a couple of years, and most Polish people like him. Yeah, but even Piłsudski had like, political prisons. So like, the vast majority of dictators in history are going to just be bad people. Like, Lee Kuan Yew is probably the only exception that I can think of. Hi, Random Fist. Hi, Pro. I have 2 questions. Have I ever played Roblox? Also, what do you hear about the new KSI song? I've never played Roblox. I don't actually know what the new KSI song is. The KSI, that's that YouTuber, right? I don't follow them, so I don't know. Thank you, IDK. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, awesome entertainer guy. Even on hard, The Last of Us 2 is no joke. Like, goddamn. Yep. The Last of Us has always been a very hard game. Even on the harder difficulties. Thank you, awesome entertainer guy. Thank you for the super chat, too. Keep up the good work. Can't wait for your GTA 6 lore videos and walkthroughs. Thank you, Big Claude Gaming. Thanks, man. Do I know about Suharto, the dictator of Indonesia? No, I don't really know much about him. Pro, what type of economy is China to you? China is not a capitalist system, despite what people say. People think that it's a capitalist system. What I would say about China is, I would say China is an authoritarian socialist, market economy. That's what I would describe China as. It's not a capitalist system. People think that China is a capitalist country. It's not. It's very much an authoritarian, socialist market system. Yes, you can make money in China. Yes, you can be a billionaire in China, but that doesn't mean that it's a capitalist country just because you can be a billionaire. Just waiting for you cool doing 7 cell missions? Just want to know. I can help you with a bunch of them. Let's start them up. I don't know how popular he is in Vietnam, Gutter. But you have to remember that,
Okay.
you have to remember that Ho Chi Minh was responsible for those prisons that were in Hanoi. Those horrible prisons where a lot of people died in, too. Can't wait for Yakuza 0 next month. Thank you, Chesseruni. Yes, we'll be playing Yakuza 0. That's the playthrough we'll be doing in November. For the rest of October, for what you guys want to know what we're going to be playing in October, the playthroughs, we're going to be finishing up 63 Days and Ace Attorney. And then after that, we'll do World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 6, and San Andreas. And I want to throw in Ace Attorney Investigations into there, but I just don't know when I'll start that. Maybe I'll start that in November. I'll just get World at War out of the way and Black Ops 6 done first. Yeah, thank you for being a member. Thank you for being a member for 5 years, Chaz. Thank you, man. Yeah, a lot of playthroughs to do in October, but we'll get it done. Black Ops 2, probably do it next year for 2025. Wait, what are you talking on NBA? Oh, Pol Pot. The thing is though, is here's the thing is, if I had to name the most evil dictator besides Hitler, Stalin, and Mao, because Hitler, Stalin, and Mao are the 3 most evil dictators in history. But if you take out those 3 dictators, who I would say would be the other person that's the most evil dictator in history also? Pol Pot in Cambodia. That guy is that guy's a complete psychopath. Pol Pot is like one of the worst human beings that ever lived on this planet. And Pol Pot was such a psycho that even the communists in Vietnam were horrified by how brutal he was. So you have to think about that too. Even the communists in Vietnam were disgusted with his brutality. It was even too much for them. But yeah, I would say that Hitler, Stalin, and Mao are the most evil dictators that ever lived. But the most evil modern dictator that lived within the last like 40, 50 years would have to probably be Pol Pot. Well, there's actually a mission in 63 Days where you see the Goliath gunner. Who is the worst dictator today? The most evil dictator that exists today, probably I would say would be Kim Jong-un. But the dictator that's the biggest threat to world peace, I would say would probably be Xi Jinping, China. Was Ho Chi Minh considered a dictator? Yeah, he would be. Ho Chi Minh was General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, which is basically a dictator. Can dictatorships happen in a democratic nation? Of course. That's what happened in Germany. Germany went from being a democracy to becoming a fascist dictatorship within a decade, or decade and a half. What do you know about Hanoi Hilton? I know that it was a horrible prison where there was the survival rate for American prisoners was very low. It was in Hanoi. Putin is also a bad guy and a bad dictator, but me personally, in my opinion, is I'm much more scared of Xi Jinping. Like I'm not scared of like I'm not scared of Russia doing anything bad to America. I don't think that Russia can do anything bad to America even if they tried. I'm much more scared of Xi Jinping actually doing something bad to America. What about the Turkmenistani dictator? Oh yeah, he's bad too, yeah. He would be probably under Kim Jong-un. Okay. Oh, did I, hang on one second here. Yeah, I think I, okay. The dictator who made rap videos, yes. Okay, so you guys are not gonna believe me when I tell you this. You guys are gonna think that I'm trolling, that I'm lying when I say this, but I'm not. I'm being 100% truthful with you guys. There is this one country in Central Asia called Turkmenistan. And Turkmenistan, you might not have heard about it before, but Turkmenistan is the second most unfree country in the world. It is the second most brutal dictatorship in the world behind North Korea. If you're wondering, the number one country that's the most brutal dictatorship in the world is North Korea. Number two is Turkmenistan. So Turkmenistan doesn't, isn't much better. But about Turkmenistan is the dictator of Turkmenistan. What he did was he painted all the buildings in the capital city white, and he only allowed like gray and white cars in the streets. He made a giant golden statue to his dog in the middle of the capital city. I'm trying to think of what else he did. Oh yeah, he also wrote his own book, and he made politicians swear on his book. And his book has to be sold in every single bookstore in the country. And his book is like a joke. It's like a picture book. It's like a book with like a picture on one page and like a few sentences. It's like a kindergartner wrote it. But that the dictators apparently called a renowned, author, one of the best authors in the world. And when politicians are sworn into office in Turkmenistan, they have to swear on his book, like the dictator's personal picture book. It's really creepy. But the dumbest thing that I've seen is the dictator of Turkmenistan actually recorded a rap music video. I'm not joking when I say this. He made a music video and he put it on state TV where he was rapping with his grandson. So they were doing a rap. Like, the dictator of Turkmenistan did a rap, and he was rapping on TV, and he made his people watch it. He put it on state TV. If you don't believe me, if you think I'm lying, go on YouTube and type in Turkmenistan dictator rap video, and you'll see it. It'll come out. It's one of the most cringe things I've ever seen, and he's not even good at rapping. It's one of the most cringe things I've ever seen in my life. It's like, this is a brutal dictator that, like, has killed numerous people, and he's, making videos on state TV rapping. It's like, honestly, it's like something from that movie, The Dictator. It's like a parody. Like, it's honestly reminds me of, like, that. Or it reminds me of something that you see like a Just Cause game, like some Just Cause nonsense. Yes, he also played the piano, and he played the piano on Christmas. He did a holiday special for like Christmas where he was like playing the piano, and honestly, it didn't even look like he was actually playing the piano. I think it was just faked. Thoughts on Medici's dictator Di Ravello? I actually like Di Ravello as a villain. Di Ravello is probably my favorite Just Cause villain. What is the most outlandish restriction or law in North Korea, in your opinion? The most ridiculous law in North Korea? I'll tell you. A lot of people think that the most ridiculous law in North Korea is the law on the haircuts, where you have to have like you have like 10 government-approved haircuts, but that's actually not the most ridiculous law. The most ridiculous law in North Korea is that you are not allowed to have any South Korean K-pop music. If you have any South Korean K-pop music, you are executed. I'm not joking. That is the death penalty. In North Korea, having like South Korean music is a death penalty. K-pop. Because the North Korean government thinks that K-pop is corrupting their country, and so if you have any K-pop in North Korea, you're gonna get executed. So any South Korean music, you're executed. Okay, let's go to the next drop here. Look it up if you don't believe me. Just go and Google it. Like, person executed in North Korea for K-pop. It's true. Do you think Napoleon should have been executed? If Napoleon was executed, that would have caused riots in France. Why does Hirohito get a pass? He got let off easy. I agree with you. Hirohito did get let off easy. Hirohito was a murderer. You know, a lot of people think that Hirohito wasn't that involved, but he very much, you have to understand this too, that people say, oh, you know, Hirohito was just a puppet. It was like Tojo that was mainly doing it. Well, while Tojo was guilty of a lot of stuff too, you have to understand that Imperial Japan saw the Emperor as a god, and you're telling me that their god cannot stop the war, that cannot stop these atrocities that his empire is committing? So, like, the guy who's seen as a god does not have the power to stop the war? Honestly, it's nonsense. That's what I would say about that. Hirohito is guilty. He's guilty. Do you think that North Korea will be free in your lifetime? No. North Korea's never... I don't think North Korea's ever going to be free. And also, China will not allow North Korea to be free. That's the thing that I will also say about that. Because here's the thing about this, is that China does not like North Korea. They actually get pissed off at North Korea because they feel like North Korea causes them a lot of problems at times. But even though they get pissed off at North Korea, China prefers North Korea over South Korea. So China does not want to have a border with South Korea. So if North Korea was to unify with South Korea, China would be completely against that because they wouldn't want South Korea to border them. So China would do everything in their power to keep the Kim regime in power too. So no, North Korea I don't think is going to be ever free. No, I haven't seen the Napoleon movie. The CIA have never assassinated the Turkmenistani dictator because the U.S. government are on good terms with him. Well, the thing about that, what you're saying, zombie, is half true. The reason that you never hear anything about Turkmenistan, that crazy dictatorship that I was telling you guys about, where like the dictator, like, you know, even does like rap music videos. And here's the thing: is if you want to know how evil this dictator is, what he did was he closed down all hospitals that were not in the capital city. So any hospital that was not in the capital city in Turkmenistan, it was closed down because he said it was a waste of money to have hospitals that weren't in the capital city. And so people are living under his terror in Turkmenistan. But you never hear anything, even though Turkmenistan is considered the second most unfree country in the world, you never hear about it in the media. You never hear politicians, world leaders talk about it. You never hear about it in the media. So why don't you hear about it in the media if it's such an unfree country? The reason you never hear about it in the media is because Turkmenistan does not have nuclear weapons. Turkmenistan is not threatening its neighbors like North Korea. Turkmenistan is also a neutral country. And Turkmenistan also provides cheap natural gas to Europe. So Turkmenistan is one of the largest natural gas producers in the world, and it provides cheap natural gas to Europe. And that's why you don't hear a lot of these Western countries say anything about Turkmenistan, because they're providing cheap natural gas. So when a lot of these politicians say they care about democracy in other countries, it's just a bunch of lies. It's just, you know, BS. The only dictators that they're going to call out are dictators they don't like, they don't agree with personally. But if it's a dictator that's going to help them out, you know, give them some kind of benefit to their country, they're not going to care about that, and they're going to let them stay in power. So that's what I'll say about Turkmenistan, is that's why you don't hear anything about Turkmenistan, is because Turkmenistan trades a lot with the West, and they give a lot of natural gas. But also, Turkmenistan also trades with Russia. Russia also supports Turkmenistan. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird where the West and Russia support like one country, but they the West and Russia both support the dictatorship in Turkmenistan. So even though both the West and Russia hate each other, they're both supporting Turkmenistan because Turkmenistan has good relations with both of them. Hope your day is good. Have you tried the Krabby Patty at Wendy's yet? No, I haven't, DHC. Thank you for sponsoring my channel for 2.5 years. Thanks, man.
Excuse me?
Wait for your motorcycle club to leave the area. Oh. I kind of left the area already then. Nicaragua is the next dictatorship. Nicaragua is not the next dictatorship. Nicaragua is a dictatorship. You've had Daniel Ortega has been the president for how many years now? Nicaragua is a dictatorship. So it's not a free country. Can people in Turkmenistan leave? I don't know. That I don't know. I know in North Korea they can, but I'm assuming that if Turkmenistan is the second most unfree country in the world, probably not.
Looks like you.
Reminds me of the Nigerian Civil War, where the USSR and the US both backed the Nigerian government, while Czechoslovakia, South Africa, China, France, and Germany backed Biafra. Huh. Why is Guantanamo Bay open? Well, I think that Guantanamo Bay should be closed. I think it should be, because I think that Guantanamo Bay violates the American Constitution, because you have the right to have a trial, you have a right to have a speedy trial, and on top of that, what the Guantanamo Bay also violates is it violates a cruel and unusual punishment. Cruel and unusual punishment in the U.S. Constitution. That is the 8th Amendment, I'm pretty sure. But yes, I'm pretty sure it's cruel. It's 8th Amendment. Yep, I was right. 8th Amendment. It's cruel and unusual punishment. So that violates the 8th Amendment. It violates the 8th Amendment and the 5th Amendment, the right to a trial and the you know, cruel and unusual punishment. Was there any president who visited North Korea before 45? No. You know, 45 was the only president that ever stepped foot in North Korea. But it was only like a foot or two in North Korea. It wasn't even, no, I don't think I'm gonna... Maybe I'll do a stream of Saints Row 2 on the anniversary. Oh, crap. But... Turkmenistan borders China, so it's hard to leave, huh? But I think it also borders Uzbekistan to the south, I think. What do you say when someone says communism or socialism haven't been fully implemented, so you can't disprove it? I would tell them, you know, you have 4 choices, and I'll pay for your ticket. You can either go to Venezuela, you know, Cuba, you know, Nicaragua, or North Korea. Because there you have, you know, 4 socialist communist countries, and you can see how things are working out for them. Because, you know, the thing is, though, I'll tell you something about this, is that, do you know, a lot of these, you know, communist socialists, they always say the exact same thing, and they say, oh, you know, communism hasn't been fully implemented. That's not real communism. Well, what if you say to them, that's not real capitalism? You could say the exact same thing back to them. Like, they're constantly complaining about capitalism. You could say, oh, that's not real capitalism. So, you could turn their entire argument against them on that.
Hey, which one of my skills is required?
Oh, great.
Wow. Weirdo.
Try to lose the cops here. My Buddhist friend said she likes the idea of communism, but not the implementation. Well, it's communism on paper sounds, you know, good in practice, because it's, you know, the idea is everyone's equal. You know, people's needs are provided for. This idea that there is, you know, no greed, none of this stuff. But in reality, every single time that it's been implemented, it's been a complete failure. Every single time. Like, there's not, like, one time in, you know, in history where I can think of where, like, communism or socialism has succeeded. Every single time. It's always a disaster. Every single time, everywhere it's been implemented, it's a failure. Every time. Hey Pat, can I ask you something? One of my friends is playing GT Online, and she just wants to enjoy it and not have businesses. She just wants to have cars and drive them. Well, then her best bet is to do, you know, heists, like casino heists in Cayo Perico if she doesn't want businesses. But what she can also do is she can buy the acid lab and have that produce, and even though that's a business, it doesn't really require any work. You just have, like, produce supplies and you can sell it solo. And you can have nightclub also. You'd have to buy the other businesses, but nightclub, you could have it linked to it, and you don't really have to do anything. You sell it whenever nightclub's filled and ready. Yeah, Burma is a brutal, you know, government.
Hello there.
Honestly, I'm not surprised that it's mostly kids that are defending, like, you know, Jack Doherty. It's like the same thing for, like, Mr. Beast. If you watch his videos, it's just mostly, like, kids that are, like, in the comments defending him. My favorite gift of 2008, Saints Row 2.
Cryptocurrency received, so I guess we have a sale.
Some future GTA lores that I have planned, one about the Lost MC, one about the backstory behind Wade, yeah, I would blame the parents also, Jimmy. But you know what I would tell you? You know, do you know what the creepiest comment section that I've ever seen is? The most creepiest comment section, I think, is probably Mr. Beast's comment section. It's probably the creepiest comment section that I've ever seen. Has anybody seen Mr. Beast's comment section recently? It's like all of the comments are just like, you know, just like comments about the video, talking about how much they love him and his videos and all this other stuff. Like, and they have no replies. Like, there's no replies. Like, you have like 1,000, like a comment with like 1,000 likes, but it'll have no replies to it. And there's like no negative comments on it. And I suspect what I think he's doing is I think he has like moderators and bots that are automatically deleting comments. That's what I think. So that's I say Mr. Beast's comments are just really creepy. His comment section. It's like the comments, if you look at the comments, they don't even seem like they're people that are posting it. It seems more like they're bots.
You doing that?
Oh, crap, sorry, dude. Okay, this isn't far, just 2 miles. What are your thoughts on drama YouTubers? A lot of them can be really toxic. Like, I could not sit there and talk about drama. Like, I can't do something. Like, I want to do something positive, like, on my channel. Like, it just... that, like, I reacted to that Jack Doherty crap, like, you know, yesterday, but I don't really upload videos like that. It's, like, not really common for me. I couldn't imagine myself doing that every day. Like, I have to upload something positive, like... Oh, the worst are the ones who put the fake tweets in the thumbnails. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like, they'll create, like, tweets in the thumbnails that aren't even real. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen those thumbnails before. Yeah, I know. Oh, I think I hit something. I'm doing research on the Spanish-American War for my history class, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. I think it could help me understand it. Thank you, Zalpi Dem. Basically, how the Spanish-American War started is that there was a civil war in Cuba, and the Cubans wanted to be independent from Spain, so there's an uprising in Cuba. Now, the American media was publishing stories about that every day, so most Americans knew about the civil war that was happening in Cuba. And what ended up happening was the U.S. sent a warship into the harbors of Havana to calm things down. And I'm pretty sure that the ship was the USS Maine. And what ended up happening is the ship just randomly exploded. Like, this whole thing just blew up. And nobody knows exactly why the ship exploded. Like, there's conspiracy theories about it. You know, people don't know, the full reason why the ship blew up. But it blew. There's a common theory that people think that there was a soldier that was smoking cigarettes near, like, one of the artillery rooms, and it lit something up and blew up the whole ship. But then there's the other theory that it was the U.S. government that did it so they could start a war. There's another theory that the Cuban rebels blew it up. And there's other theories that it was just an accident. But regardless of whatever is true, is the U.S. Blamed Spain for blowing up the ship, even though Spain denied it, and then the U.S. declared war on them. And then there was like fights in Cuba, Puerto Rico. There was battles in the Philippines, and Spain lost that war. And here's the thing is, oh, slow down, I'm writing. Oh. No, okay, Zalpi them. Oh, let me go to his business here. Have I seen Darman's videos? I have. He's like that guy that uploads like those like short movies about like life lessons, like it's some kind of like story about a life lesson. But isn't and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Darman the same guy who didn't pay his staff? Is that the same YouTuber who didn't pay his staff? Because I know there was like one of those YouTubers that like upload those story videos and he didn't pay his staff. Is that Darman, or am I thinking of someone else? It's Darman. So yeah, so he uploads those videos about like greedy bosses, and yet he apparently, according to what people are saying, he doesn't pay his employees themselves, so that's kind of hypocritical. Oh yeah, that's right. Zalpi them could rewind the stream too, but also there's a YouTube video, hang on, there's a YouTube video that you can watch on the Spanish-American War. There's like a YouTuber that I like, and he does a really good video. Oh, the Spanish-American War Explained, short animated documentary. History Matters. History Matters. He's a really good channel for explaining history. Now about and this is what History Matters says this, and I agree with what History Matters says. But this is one point you might want to bring up to your teacher, and your teacher might really like this if you bring this point up. But basically, Spain knew that they were going to lose the Spanish-American War. They knew they were going to lose. And so you're probably wondering, if Spain knew they were going to lose the Spanish-American War, why did they fight it? Why didn't they just, surrender? The reason they didn't surrender is because it was about their international reputation. If they didn't at least even try to put up a fight, they would have been a laughingstock on the world stage. So even though they knew they were going to lose the war, the reason they fought was just so that they at least have some respect left. That was pretty much it. So other countries would make fun of them. What are my thoughts on Lunchly? What's that? Thank you, Sleep Punch Man. Oh, what's going on? Wait, what's wrong, Menace? I'll rip off Lunchables. Oh, Lunchly, I've never heard about Lunchly. Let me just Google it. Lunchly. What's Lunchly? I see Jake Paul and Mr. Beast on this right away. Did they advertise this stuff? Okay, I've never heard of Lunchly, and I don't know why some people are surprised that I've never heard about it in chat. I don't follow these big YouTubers like this Logan Paul, Jake Paul stuff. I don't follow these guys. So I don't watch Mr. Beast. I don't do any of that stuff. So I don't know what half these people are doing. The only thing I know about Mr. Beast is I just know about the bad things he was involved in recently. Well, other than that, I don't really know much about these guys. One of the packages was confirmed to have mold after 3 days. My God, that reminds me of those Fallout helmets that had mold in them. I'm not sure on that, Fergus. As a Brooklynite, yourself, what do you think is a hypothetical scenario in which Brooklyn would become its own city? I don't think it would work. I think Brooklyn is too dependent on New York City, and it's too connected to New York City. It wouldn't work. But I will tell you, I lived on Long Island, and I lived on Long Island also a good chunk of my life, in Nassau County specifically. And I'll tell you one thing: if Long Island was its own state, that would work a lot better than Brooklyn being its own city. So if like Long Island's was its own state, because a lot of people on Long Island wanted it to be their own state. I think that was like a measure on the ballot a long time ago, but it never had any chance of passing. But the reason a lot of people on Long Island wanted to be their own state is because they were pissed off about like New York City constantly deciding everything for them. That's what a lot of Long Islanders were basically pissed about. What did your parents think about when they found out about your YouTube success? They were a bit shocked. They didn't seem to understand it. But they were very supportive. Thoughts on cities saying that rural areas are leeches. Here's what I will tell you guys about this. Is rural and city narcissism is toxic as hell. Because there are people that are really toxic in both the cities and in rural communities. Like there are people in rural communities that think we don't need cities, and there's people in cities that think we don't need rural communities. And I will tell you, this toxicity accomplishes nothing. And I will tell you, the truth is that both need each other. Cities cannot function without rural places, and rural places cannot function without cities. That's just the reality of it. Cities do help rural communities with their taxes. However, though, rural communities help just as much to cities, because think about because I'll tell you this, is I grew up in New York City, and so I grew up around a lot of people, a lot of like really big city elitists, and they basically thought the world revolved around New York. Not just the country, but they thought that the world revolved around New York. They thought that everything was that New York, that everybody should care what was going on in New York. But they didn't care at all about the rural communities at all. And these people, when you talk to these people, they basically said, oh, we don't need rural communities, we don't need these farms, we don't need these people. And these same people have never stepped foot on a farm in their entire life. They grew up in a city, that's all they know is the city. And I will tell you that for the people that say that cities don't need rural communities, think about it this way. Where is the majority of gasoline produced? In rural communities, not produced in cities. Where is the majority of food produced? In rural communities, not cities. Where are the majority of truckers from? From rural communities, not cities. Now, think about that. If the rural communities were not producing gasoline, if the rural communities were not producing, food on their farms, and the rural communities were not did not have truckers. Imagine what that would do to cities. It will be absolute chaos. Absolute chaos. Like, if the Midwest stopped producing food, for example, it will be absolute chaos for, like, cities. Absolute chaos. So, when these people think that, like, when they think that there's no, they think that there's no need for, like, rural communities, stupid. And for the people that think there's no need for cities, they're also stupid. So that's what I'll say, is that, this toxicity does not accomplish anything. And somebody who lives in, like, you know, a rural part of New York or, you know, I would say even a rural part of, like, Texas or, like, you know, the Midwest is just as much an American as somebody who lives in a city. And, you know, people shouldn't, you know, look down on people. Well, I guess it's kind of Agent 47 cosplay that we're doing right now. Hey, Jonathan, how are you, man? Pearl, you look like the food review guy. That guy's my cousin, actually. Favorite character in The Walking Dead? Oh. I don't know. But no, I'm kidding. The food review guy is not my cousin. What if Spain was, like, rolled over and gave everything to the, Americans? Like, all their colonies? Wait, what? What, Zach? What is the worst gun ever used in a video game? The Colibri in Battlefield 1. What happened to the stream earlier? I don't know. We had some issues, but we fixed it. Were there urban cities during Red Dead Redemption 2? Of course. Of course, not as much as, you know, today, but definitely, yes. New York, Chicago, you had those cities. What's with the lightning in the game at this point? Is that like an event or something? Because I never see lightning at night. Do Americans ever go on holidays abroad, or they just go to different parts of their respective state during the summer holidays? Most Americans will usually travel to other states, but Americans sometimes will travel to you know, other countries. Oh, it's part of the Halloween thing. You know what, you know what, do you know what country was really toxic to tourists recently, and now they're actually complaining that their tourist numbers have actually gone down? Does anybody know what country that was? There's one country that was really toxic towards tourists, And when tourists stopped coming, they started complaining that their economy was doing bad. Anyone know what country that is? There's actually two that I can think of, actually. Spain, yep. So, what Spain did was, and it wasn't even the Spanish government, it was more the people. Protesters in Spain, I think it was Barcelona primarily where it was happening. What they were doing is, the protesters, a couple months ago, protesters were going around and throwing water balloons at tourists eating at restaurants. So, like, outside restaurants, like, the protesters would say, like, you know, tourists go home, and they would just throw, like, water balloons at them. And they were blaming them for, like, the housing crisis in, like, Barcelona. And so, a lot of, imagine, and the thing is, the Spanish police did nothing about this. So, like, and the Spanish police were acting like it wasn't a big deal. If I'm eating at a restaurant, and I'm, you know, having a meal with my family, and some idiot, you know, comes over and, like, throws a water balloon at me, you know, ruins my, you know, ruins whatever I'm wearing, and also my food at the same time, I'm gonna press for assault charges at that point. And, like, the fact that the police did nothing, like, I'm pissed about that. And so what ended up happening is a lot of tourists stopped going to Spain. They stopped visiting Barcelona. And I Googled it recently that Barcelona was, like, complaining that they have economic problems because they have less tourists. And the mayor actually defended the protesters. So the mayor defended the protesters that were attacking tourists. And that's all I'll say is now they basically get what they wanted. They wanted less tourists. And so now their economy is, you know, going back. Bad. The other country, what are your thoughts about Kowloon Walled City? Thank you for the super chat, Jolema. What currency is that, by the way? I don't know if I've seen that currency before. But about Kowloon, I know what you're talking about. That actually appears in Black Ops 1, too. It's like a bunch of apartment buildings that are, like, really, like, you know, right close to each other. And there used to be actually an airport. There was an airport that was actually really close to that area. And, like, the planes would fly right above the apartment buildings, like, really close. So that was, oh, this is actually the easiest cell mission in the game. This is, like, a mile out. But yeah, some of those apartments in Kowloon were, like, really, like, cramped, and really the living conditions were not good. What I was gonna say also, another country that was, like, really toxic towards tourists was the Maldives. And the Maldives had, like, a massive problem with India recently, because there was, like, a new president that was elected in the Maldives, and what happened was India had, like, a deal with the Maldives where they had, like, a military base there and some kind of, like, program. I don't know the whole backstory behind it, but basically the new president, when he got elected in Maldives, started being really toxic towards India and Indians, and you know, making nasty comments towards India, and he demanded that the Indian army had, like, leave, you know, Maldives. So India pulls out of the Maldives, and then what ends up happening is the Maldives start getting closer to China, and the president starts making, you know, pro-China comments. It pissed off a lot of Indians, and what ended up happening is the majority of Indians stopped going to the Maldives for vacation. A lot of Indians would go to Maldives for vacation, and when the Indians stopped going to Maldives was, like, begging the tourists to come back. So, like, so that was, like, an example of another country that was really toxic towards tourists, and tourists stopped coming in, and the Maldives had, like, economic problems because of that. That's why you ever go on YouTube and you're surfing through the ads and you see, like, the random ad that comes up, like, visit the Maldives. It's because of that, because the tourists stopped going to the Maldives because of that situation that happened there. I went on holiday in Spain in 2011, but they weren't doing all that crap. Well, that was over a decade ago, though, to be fair. You know, this happened just a couple months back, this incident. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna start up a zombies, if that's okay with you, Kev. I wanted to play one zombie here. Industrial plant? Okay, Ludendorff 7. Oh, what the? Rockstar created? Wait. Why was it doing that? Hang on. Oh, Carlos has abandoned the MC. Where is it, Chaz? kill you? Okay. Rockstar created. Ludendorff Cemetery survival. I do, Jimmy. Can I speak Polish? Yes, I can. If you want to hear me also speak some Polish, watch my playthrough of 63 Days, because it's a game that takes place in Poland, and sometimes I'm translating exactly what the characters are saying, because the subtitles aren't 100% accurate. Thoughts on Mayor Adams of New York? Well, he's involved in a massive corruption scandal right now. Okay. And when you have more people in, there's more enemies, right? More zombies, because that's how the old survivals work. I know that the more people you have in, the more enemies spawn. So I'm assuming it's the same thing for zombies. Yes, that's okay. Thank you so much. You made my day. No problem, Kev. I missed the bully streams. Well, I will have a video on bully, and the video I want to make on bully is I want to talk about the historical facts in bully, whether they're actually accurate or not, like the ones that you find in the library. Well, I haven't played Watch Dogs 2, so I gotta, I'm gonna play that one day. What happens if he gets shot in the kneecaps by a shotgun? Oh, you don't want to know that. That's what happened to Joel. Somebody gets shot in the kneecaps, they're probably never gonna walk again. I need to get some missions done. Wait, what? Blue? Think of Frank Woods. Yep, I guess. Yeah, it happened to Woods. I've seen them at times, Trippy. Can I understand any other Slavic language? Yes and no. Can I speak it? No. If I hear people speaking Russian, or like Ukrainian or Belarusian, a lot of times I can make out kind of what they're saying to a degree. I can, like, a lot of words I'll recognize, they sound very similar to Polish. But I'm not gonna understand what they're saying. My father, on the other hand, my father speaks fluent Russian, Ukrainian, Belarusian, and Polish. So my father speaks all the Eastern European languages. What do they speak in Belarus? Belarusian? What about Czech or Slovak? I haven't really ever heard Czech or Slovak, so I don't know. Like, if I hear it, maybe I'll understand some words, but I haven't really ever heard it before. So I don't know where, No, people speak Belarusian in Belarus. My grandmother, she was from Belarus, and she would speak to my father in Belarusian, not in Russian. Yeah. But she always considered, even though her first language was Belarusian, she learned Polish later on. She always identified as Polish. Are Baltic languages similar to Slavic? No. No, they're not at all. My friend Jam, he is from Latvia. Jam, are you here in the chat? You could probably tell them, but it's, they're not anything like, Slavic languages. They're very different. Guys, if you see a single zombie, you can just melee it. Like, I mean, look at what I'm doing here. See this? And that'll instant kill them. My family is Hindu since we both come from immigrant families. Does that make us fake Americans? No. You are just as much an American as, like, somebody who's, like, descended from the original revolutionaries. So there's no such thing as a fake American. You're just as much an American as, you know, somebody who's, like, you know, even somebody whose, like, ancestors fought in the Revolutionary War. So, like, there's no such thing as a fake American. If you're an American citizen, you're an American. Even if you're born in another country. Hey, as in gaming. Okay, we got it. Oh, this is going a lot easier than I thought it would. Were the Polish and Dutch friends? I don't know. Well, today they're in good relations, but I don't know. Has Poland and the Netherlands really had that much relations in history? I don't know. Can you do a stereotypical New York accent? Hey, how you doing? That's more. Hey, how you doing? Easy till the fire zombies. Yep. Who's trying to troll me, Marty? Oh, crap. You guys see what I'm just doing to the zombies right now? Like, I'm not even using ammo right now. Find Brad's grave. It should be, like, right up here. Yep. Brad's grave is, like, right near the gate. I remember that, too. Yeah, this one is Brad's grave. This is Brad's grave. Also, I will tell you, is the North Yankton mission was actually pretty unrealistic. North Yankton is supposed to be North Dakota. I've been to North Dakota in the wintertime, and I will tell you about that, is that, oh crap, the deer, yep. So about North Dakota is North Dakota is so cold in the winter time that if you actually don't wear gloves and you're outside for like 20 minutes, you'll get frostbite. So just like just for that. And on top of that, in North Dakota, the ground in North Dakota is so cold in the wintertime that if you were to dig, like if you tried to dig in the ground in North Dakota in the wintertime, it would be like digging through concrete. Like the ground will be so hard you can't do anything. So like when I saw that Trevor wasn't wearing gloves and he was trying to dig in the ground and he was still able to dig through it fine, no. My character's looking amazing. Well, thank you. Yeah, I guess is Rockstar's first attempt at making like a zombies in GTA. Yeah, I could test the stone hatchet. I could test it. No, I don't, Bog. More effective is to melee them with the gun. It's quicker. Zombie DLC for Michael? There was supposed to be a zombie DLC. First time I'm hearing about this. Yeah, you got the idea, Carlos. You can just melee them. Oh crap. Armored exploding zombie. What if Merryweather would have successfully managed to kill Michael and his family? Oh, well, Devin would have still been dead, even if that had happened. Because the thing is, though, is that, how do you guys think that Trevor would have reacted if he heard that Devin had killed, Jimmy and Tracy? Like, what do you guys think Trevor would have done to Devin if he found out about that? Because, like, Devin's death would have been 100 times more brutal. Because even though Trevor hated Michael, he was very protective of Jimmy and Tracy. If he found out that Devin hurt them, he would have gone crazy. Even crazier than he normally is. I like how the zombies are just confused where they're supposed to go a lot of times. Oh, great. This. Why did Michael tell Trevor about the attack? I think it was, honestly, I think it was just bad writing. Or it might have been also that maybe it actually was good writing, but it was just Michael might not have realized how much Trevor cared about Tracy and Jimmy. That's what I think. Because if he kills Trevor, he tells Jimmy that Trevor would have killed killed all of us. But that's not true. Trevor would have never hurt Tracy or Jimmy. Even if Trevor wanted Michael dead, he would have never hurt Tracy or Jimmy. He would have never done that. So it's I just think that Michael just didn't know how much Trevor cared about Tracy and Jimmy. There's one conversation that you can have with Jimmy and Trevor, and it's like where they're hanging out, and Jimmy basically says that he's worried about Tracy, and Trevor asks him like why, and you know Jimmy says she's going on all these TV shows or something, like he says something like that, and Trevor says if there's any guy harassing her, you just tell me and I'll rip his heart out. That's what he says. Hey Pro, I just finished your Dead Rising playthrough. Would I do a Dead Rising 2 playthrough? Yes, I would, but I would start with Case Zero first, which Case Zero is a prequel to Dead Rising 2. I don't think that I would I don't think I would do anything for the Red Dead Redemption 2 anniversary. Probably not this year, but next year I'll probably do a series on it. I'll probably do a playthrough of Red Dead Redemption 2. Because I have so many games to play in October, November, that I don't think I would make it for a Red Dead Redemption 2 playthrough. This has been really easy. None of us have died also, too. Yeah, this is the easiest way to kill the zombies, is to just, unless it's the armored zombie, you just keep meleeing them like that. Easiest way to kill them. Wow, these zombies are even stupider than normal. Look, I'm not even shooting my gun right now. Oh crap, it's the armored zombies. Yeah, they're trying to punch me. Oh, Toxic died? Okay. I think we have to look for those mage zombies, the zombies that are deploying the gas. There we go. Did it. Don't pull out the nades while you're being chased by fire zombies. Wait, why? When I stream Modern Warfare Zombies, 3 zombies? Probably not. I'll probably stream Black Ops 6 zombies. That I'll probably do a stream of when that comes out. Okay. I guess we'll probably be wrapping up the stream here, guys. I probably want to eat dinner. I haven't had dinner yet. But if there's anything you guys want to ask me before I go, I'll answer any questions. So anybody want to ask me anything before I go, I'll answer your questions.
Hey, see my face, amigo? Re-fucking-membered, I'm your goddamn boss.
Favorite saloon in Red Dead Redemption 2? Valentine. Favorite narcissistic arrest? I don't know. It's a weird question to ask. I mean, pizza rolls, huh? That does put me in a mood to eat pizza. April Makarov, huh? What's in the fridge? I don't know what I'm gonna cook. I guess I'll see. What Call of Duty game is the best zombies? I think World at War, the original one. And the second best, I would say probably Cold War. Cold War, I think we can agree Cold War zombies are pretty good. And maybe Black Ops 6 zombies will actually finally beat it. Black Ops 2 zombies were also really good. And Black Ops 1. Hope everything's okay with you, Ant. You missed my question. What's your question, Isaiah? What's your question, Menace? Is equality woke? No. What about Black Ops 3 zombies? I never played it, but I know people didn't like Black Ops 3. Favorite pizza restaurant? Probably Domino's. Favorite fruit? Raspberries. I don't think there is a PC version of Liberty City Stores unless it's a mod. Hey Patrick, when it comes to the election, you forgot to mention in your LA Noir playthrough that the court judges are one of the most important candidates to vote across the United States. Yeah, I would also add that there. But it was prosecutors. A lot of times people aren't thinking about prosecutors when they're voting. But yeah, you got a point there, Isaiah. Could you cosplay the casino heist aggressive approach? I would have to probably create some kind of tactical outfit for that. When I do my playthrough Ghost Recon Wildlands, we have a lot of cosplays, a lot of tactical ones. I know people like the military cosplays, like the tactical ones that I do the most. What is it? We're going to be playing World at War next week. So this week coming up, I should say. This week coming up, we're going to be playing World at War. We're going to do it as a playthrough. And also, for people excited for the World at War playthrough, we're going to have 4 cosplays for the playthrough. 2 American uniforms and 2 Soviet uniforms. So I've got 2 World War II American uniforms and 2 Soviet World War II uniforms that we'll wear. I have an American, the Marine, Pacific, uniform. I have an American, pilot's uniform for the pilot mission. And then I have the, Soviet Stalingrad uniform and a Soviet Battle of Berlin uniform too. So we'll have those. I think those cosplays are gonna be some of my best cosplays. You'll see them. I think people will like them a lot. Wasn't that the game you got flagged for on YouTube? Yes, but my my YouTube partner manager actually removed the strike and told me that it's fine to play World at War now. So it's good. I don't have to worry about getting a strike again from that game. No, thank you, Ant. Okay, guys, so I guess I'll be going here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys all have a great weekend. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. You guys always put me in a good mood. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful